sun beating down, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the taxi window. Seemed she still had the looks of a Calabrese peasant, with her dark hair and eyes, even if she couldn't comprehend her ancestors' connection with the land. Turning, she stared up at the early 1900s sandstone villa, which fronted her late nonna Esta's market garden and evoked so many good and heartbreaking memories. A brown-roofed veranda wrapped around the spacious house, with the centerpiece a blue slatted garden bench designed for people watching while peeling potatoes and the like. The vast windows were covered up with stark beige roller shutters to keep out the Aussie sun, and a hand-painted sign reading Torrente Blu was attached to a porch peak, her nonna's ode to the blue creek out the back, even though the stream was a murky green in reality, albeit tranquil. The front yard was more suburban than the rest of the property, comprising a small patch of lawn and some mismatched flower beds, but beyond offered a glimpse of open sky and flat scrubby farmland about the size of 2 soccer stadiums, dotted with twinkling glasshouses and stretching to the aforementioned Sturt Creek. Nella's heart twinged. For the first time ever, her nonna wouldn't be there to greet her, wiping her hands on her black floral print apron and demanding Nella sit, while she put the espresso maker on. Without her, the place felt bereft, wrong, an empty shell. Shaking herself out of her reverie, Nella wheeled her bulging suitcases, one at a time, around to the rear veranda and set them by the back door. It had always been the entrance as far as her nonna was concerned. Only suit-clad Mormons and door-to-door salespeople darkened the front. At last, she paused to properly drink in the view from the veranda, which, along with the colossal glasshouses, featured glossy fruit trees, lines of leafy crops, rustic sheds, and a tomato-red tractor. A wind chime, handcrafted by her nonno to scare away blasted fruit-eating birds, tinkled on the breeze. The property was like one of those houses that looked like a run-of-the-mill single-story from the front but dropped away to a super-modern 2-story at the rear, a total surprise package. It still took Nella's breath away. A slice of the country in the burbs. No wonder her nonna had been too stubborn to leave unless in a casket, even after her husband, suffering dementia, had died a decade ago. Along with the Mediterranean climate, if Nella tuned out the rumble of traffic from Marion Road, she could imagine being transported to Italy's south. What she'd seen of it in photos, anyway. Nella had never set foot in her grandparents' place of birth. Her nonny had been among the influx of Italian immigrants who'd landed in South Australia after World War I, searching for work and a better life. Back then, as her nonna had told her, a large number of commercial fruit and vegetable gardens had flourished on Sturt Creek's floodplains. This led to several Italians spending their first years in the Marion area, working as labourers on properties owned by local farmers, her nonno among the first. They'd toiled in the market gardens, often living on-site in the barns or sheds, before establishing themselves as producers in their own right. The glasshouses crucially made winter production of vegetables such as tomatoes and cucumbers possible. Adelaide's sudden growth, though, meant that much of the land, located just 20 minutes' drive from the CBD, was reclaimed for housing and industry. Except at this end of Marion Road. Nella's gaze shifted to the left. Alongside her nonna's property stood its virtual twin, the 2 homes separated by the barest of fences, which ended once the white gravel driveways made way for glasshouses. Sooner or later, she'd have to let her grump of a neighbour know she was here. She might as well get it over with. Somehow the prospect seemed less daunting than heading indoors and being overwhelmed by grief and guilt.